Hello everyone and welcome to Autocrat. Today's episode is about me, Cassandra, because, Cassandra is me, and, I should just tell you guys about me, I guess. I was born about 25 or so years ago, and I was born in France, as you can guess by my accent, and...
Wait.
Yes?
I'm not sure you've got the right notes here. When I told you this episode was going to be about Cassandra, I didn't mean you.
You did?
No.
Oh. But I am Cassandra.
You are, and I do not take away from that fact, but there is a second one who's sort of more relevant to the Trojan War, I think. I think you could say that at least.
I guess. Well, I am Cassandra.
No, you're not.
The curse still stands to this day.
Alright, well, let's try that again, shall we?
Hello everyone, and welcome to Autocrat, episode 50. As you may have guessed, Cassandra.
Wow, it feels weird to be on 50 episodes, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, hey, at least we got your namesake for that milestone.
Today we're starting our journey introducing the characters who will be relevant throughout chapter 2, because yes, we're on chapter 2.
Again, feels crazy.
This is the first one of them, as you may have guessed by now, Cassandra.
Yeah, in case we haven't laboured this point enough, she might be who we're covering.
We're going to start by talking about grave, but we actually are not, because he doesn't really mention her except in the context of her death, so that's not really relevant right now.
Ah, you got me with the plot twist.
I mean, Ovid doesn't mention her at all.
No, I feel so shortchanged. Well, I guess should I tell us a bit about some people who do talk about her?
Yes, please.
That would be a good start.
It would be.
So, among other people, we've got Apollodorus to rely on today. So, do you remember a little Trojan prince called Podarces originally, but who got given a different name, who we last left in the burning remains of Troy as Heracles destroyed everything?
Sure.
Do you remember what that name was?
Priam.
Yep, this is Priam, and, well, he becomes king of Troy. So we now have one of the big figures in place. This is King Priam of Troy. Now, what's the first thing that a king would probably think of if he's not immediately fighting a war or dealing with a crisis?
Just chill.
Yes, and part of that is stabilising the succession. So we should talk about the family life of King Priam because it will be relevant. His first wife was a woman by the name of Arisbe, Arisbe. Bit of a strange one to pronounce, but still. They had one child together, and this was a son called Aesacus, so hooray, heir to the throne, problem solved. However, he turns into a diving bird after his wife dies because he tries to kill himself in grief by throwing himself into the sea. Now, obviously, our old ADHD-filled friend Ovid mentions this story in books 11 and 12 of his Metamorphoses, because why wouldn't he? Priam and family mourned him as if he was dead because, well, they didn't know he'd been transformed into a bird. I guess it's not usually something you should look out for.
The bird is not just going to come and squeak and be like, hey, quick, it's me, quick.
I mean, I don't remember what bird he got. I mean, it's controversial what bird he turned into. I'll put some references if I find them in the show notes. I think it's a cormorant or something that starts with S that I can't remember, but I don't know if it makes that noise.
Snake.
Yes, it was a snake. That's canon. Anyway, Aesacus' later brothers would also mourn at his tomb, except he's not in it because he's a bird, with the exception of Paris, because he was off causing the Trojan War and being terrible.
I mean, sure, why not?
However, he's still alive during the first part of our story for our purposes, so we're going to flash back a bit. But, just know he turns into a bird at some point.
Cool. Anyway, back to Priam.
Yeah.
He eventually gave his first wife to someone else and married again to a woman called Hecuba or Achaebe in Euripides' play.
Okay.
Now, who was the first one?
Well, it was a boy by the name of Hector.
Oh,
And
really?
we will be hearing that name a lot more.
We will?
Yeah, he's a big deal in the Trojan War, a bit like his dad. Maybe it runs in the family. Or the fact that they're both in a city which is about to get annihilated. Anyway, you might spot a problem here.
Sure.
Or a problem which could have arisen, because at the time that little Prince Hector is born, the royal family consists of Priam, the king, his firstborn child Aesacus, by a woman he's now given away, I guess, didn't think to look into it, and a stepmother and half-brother. Now, stepmothers and stepchildren always get along so fantastically, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So you might think this would cause a problem, because, for example, in later centuries, the Roman Emperor Andronicus II will have to deal with his second wife, Irene, trying to get her sons to succeed to a divided empire instead of the eldest son being the heir. So, there's going to be tension like that in later centuries in our story. However, Aesacus presumably isn't a problem anymore after, once again, he becomes too busy being a bird. So we don't really hear of any friction. Maybe there was, but it's not recorded. Anyway, Hecuba became pregnant for a second time, and she had a dream. She dreamed that she gave birth to a fire which burned through all Troy.
Ooh.
Priam sent for his eldest son, Aesacus, not a bird at the time, although that would have been funny, who was gifted in the understanding of dreams. Basically, the impression I get is he's a non-biblical Joseph. He can work out what dreams mean. He'd been taught to do it, apparently, by his maternal grandfather, who was someone by the name of Merops. Now, I'm going to disappoint you. For reasons that will become apparent later down the line, we're going to leave this point on a cliffhanger for now.
Yeah.
Just know, suffice it to say, the second child is also a boy by the name of Paris. Just bear the dream in mind. Keep it in the back of your head.
Alright.
Do you want to take us through the rest of the kids?
Sure. In quick succession, after her first 2 boys, Ichabod gave birth to 4 daughters, one after the other. The first of this was Creusa. I'm just going to go ahead and not keep you in suspense. She marries a rather famous man by the name of Aeneas.
Ah, again, another big name. See, we're starting the chapter off strong. We're introducing a lot of people.
Is a minor Trojan prince descendant of Tros through a brother of Ganymede and Ilus called Aesacus. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah, Aeneas. The name rings a bell. I think there's some Roman poet who thinks he's a big deal.
The second was called Laodice.
Ah, that's a name that comes up a lot in later centuries.
It is. I remember you being mad about how many Laodice there were.
Especially when you name 2 of your daughters Laodice, not looking at anyone in particular, Achaeus.
The third daughter was Polyxena, who gets mentioned quite a bit more in a Euripides play we will get to later down the line.
Okay.
Now, the fourth daughter was me!
Again, it's not you. Please check your emails more carefully.
Never to be believed. So, it was Cassandra.
Yeah.
Me. Just to finish off the roster, Ichabod had then 8 more sons, the last of which was apparently fathered by Apollo.
Right.
Normally, I might dismiss this as unnecessarily ruining a happy family image.
Yeah.
However, this actually checks out.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, this is because his elder brother, Apollodorus, is mentioned as the youngest son by Euripides.
Okay.
This makes sense if he's the youngest son by Priam.
Yeah, I guess that does. Because then he's the youngest kid of the royal family, but not the youngest of the wife.
Anyway, Priam also had 36 sons, 36, and 4 daughters by various women.
Oh boy, scrap the happy families image. I mean, at least his wife isn't pregnant into her 70s, as she probably would be with that many kids.
Maybe this happened after he found out that Apollo fathered a child by Ichabod, but I'm probably reading way too much into the ordering of the children in the text.
Oh no, revenge illegitimate children.
Incidentally, one of their daughters called Medusa and one of the sons is called Lycaon, both of which are throwback names.
Oh yeah.
I think we discussed Lycaon as the man who fed Zeus human meat and prompted to flood the world back in episode 15 or so.
Yeah. Again, maybe that's an omen. They named a child after someone who prompted great destruction. Maybe it's an omen. Anyway,
back to me.
Back to Cassandra, yes.
She's also called Alexandra in a poem by someone called Lycophron.
Okay.
However, we're going to stick to the name Cassandra because that's me, and otherwise it's far too confusing. Like others have done in the past, Cassandra drew the attention of the god Apollo. I remember doing that.
Apparently her mum also drew the attention of the god Apollo.
Yeah. He offered to instruct her in the art of prophecy. Apollodorus says that he wanted to get the favor of Cassandra, but I think we can all guess what he actually refers to.
Ah, yes. A sort of quid pro quo, I'm imagining.
I will not confirm or deny.
No, I think we're going to skip lightly over the implications of that.
She learned how to be a prophetess, however, she didn't go along with the rest.
Right.
Apollo was angry about this, but he couldn't undo what he'd already given her.
Yeah, we've seen that before with Ovid saying that the gods can't undo the proclamations of other gods, so I guess he's given her the gift of prophecy before she, returns the favour, so he can't take that back.
Yeah. Well, what he does is that he curses her prophecies to not be believed.
Oh, that's cruel.
It is?
No, it's not. I don't believe that.
You don't believe the story I just told you?
Nah, it's all rubbish.
It's true!
If you say so, co-host, if you say so. Anyway, so, next episode, we'll actually get back onto some real mythology, shall we?
This was real, I swear!
Or was it?
Or was it?
Gaslighting everyone with the name of Cassandra. Or are we? Anyway, we're probably going a bit too meta here.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, and in the meantime, thank you all for listening and have a great week, everyone.